Dear students, welcome to Growth Hormone Part 2. In today's lecture, we will discuss functions of growth hormone. So, growth hormone receptor are cytokine family. Mechanism is tyrosine kinase, JAK-STAT activation, and target for the growth hormone is whole body, means receptor present for growth hormone is whole cell of the body. Now it is mainly concerned with the growth, means increase in the length of the bone, increase in the thickness thereafter after epiphysis fusion throughout life, repairing of the tissue. So main action of this hormone is on the growth. That's why they have given name growth hormone. So first of all, effect on the growth. So almost all the tissue of the body under effect of this growth hormone causes growth. So growth of almost all the tissue of the body, all the organs of the body. Second, it increases cell size and number of the cell, right? It increases cell size and number, means hypertrophy and hyperplasia. It also helps in the differentiation of cells into the bone and the muscle, skeletal muscle mainly. So this is effect on growth. This is the first function, very important function of growth hormone. So growth of almost all tissue of the body, increase cell size and number. Third, differentiation of cell in bone and in muscle. Effect on bone and cartilage. This effect is mediated via somatomedin C, IGF-1, mainly growth hormone, goes to liver to synthesize many somatomedins. Out of them, 4 have been isolated, and common one is somatomedin C. Somatomedin C, IGF-1. This somatomedin C or IGF-1 will do the function for the growth hormone during puberty. So during puberty, the concentration of somatomedin C increases, which stimulate bone growth and collagen formation. It increases protein deposition by chondrocytes and osteogenic cells and hasten the rate of reproduction, convert chondrocytes into osteogenic cell. Long bone grows in length. Epiphyseal cartilage, that is the new cartilage, converted into bone before epiphyseal fusion. In this way, from the end of the shaft, there is a new cartilage will be converted into bone and push the epiphyseal end away and increasing the length of the shaft. So increasing the bone length. After epiphyseal fusion, there is increase in the bone thickness, that is osteoblastic function. So all the function of this growth hormone is via somatomedin C, IGF-1, and mainly during puberty. Another functions, metabolic effect. First of all, we will try to understand effect on protein metabolism. So as we all know, for growth of human body, we require protein, right? So there is definitely increase in protein synthesis and decrease protein catabolism. Increase protein synthesis and decrease protein catabolism. So anabolic effect, it increases amino acid level in the cell, increase RNA translation and transcription of DNA in nucleus. As a result, there is increase in the protein synthesis and decrease in the protein catabolism. So we have a protein available for the growth of human body. Next is the carbohydrate metabolism. It stimulates gluconeogenesis. It stimulates gluconeogenesis. It also stimulates glycogenolysis. So in that way, it increases blood glucose level. It increases blood glucose level. Simultaneously decrease utilization and uptake of glucose by the cell. So it increases blood glucose level but decrease its uptake and utilization by the cell. As a result, we have hyperglycemia. Because of hyperglycemia, there is increase in the insulin secretion from pancreas, but insulin cannot act because action of insulin to increase entry of glucose inside the cell, which is almost inhibited by the growth hormone. So pancreas starts secreting more and more insulin. So there will be hyperglycemia and hyperinsulinemia, and as a result burning out of beta cell when there is excess hyperglycemia. And we have a diabetes, but this is not simple diabetes. Here it is endocrinal diabetes, that is pituitary diabetes, because we have a insulin resistance. Insulin is there but not able to function. So this is called pituitary diabetes. So inhibit glucose transport in adipose tissue as well, which is mainly required for TG or triglyceride synthesis. So if there is no availability of the blood glucose, right, no availability of the glucose in the fat cell adipose tissue, triglyceride synthesis is reduced. So in short, it increase blood glucose level via increase the gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis, but simultaneously decrease glucose uptake and utilization. As a result, hyperglycemia, increase in the insulin level, but because of insulin resistance, there is pituitary diabetes, and it also inhibit glucose transport in adipose tissue, which is required for triglyceride synthesis. And on the fat metabolism, so growth hormone don't allow protein and carbohydrate for energy purpose. So we have only fat to be utilized for the energy purpose. So definitely it has catabolic effect, right? It has catabolic effect on the fat. It mobilizes fatty acid from the adipose tissue, increase fatty acid level in the blood, but simultaneously decrease in the triglyceride level. We have discussed in the last slide, because growth hormone inhibit glucose transport in the adipose tissue, which is required for triglyceride synthesis. So it increase fatty acid level and decrease triglyceride level. So in whole body, fatty acid increases and converted into acetyl coenzyme A for the energy purpose. Now the ketogenic effect of the growth hormone when there is excess. So ketogenic effect in the liver when there is excessive fatty acid, under effect of more growth hormone, there is a oxidation which produce ketone bodies, acetone, acetoacetic acid and beta hydroxy butyrate. So these are the ketone bodies which are produced in the liver due to beta oxidation of the fat when there is a excessive growth hormone is there, because excess growth hormone, excess fatty acid in the liver which generate ketone bodies. So these are the major metabolic effect. So on the carbohydrate, hyperglycemia, on the protein, anabolic, and fat, lipolysis of fat, and effect on the electrolytes, positive nitrogen and phosphorus balance, because it increases protein synthesis. On the gastrointestinal tract, it increases absorption of calcium, which is very prominent, and do calcium excretion by kidney. But overall there is increase in the calcium absorption in the gastrointestinal tract. So overall positive calcium balance by the growth hormone, which is helpful in mineralization of bone, in growth of bone, right? And on the kidney, it decreases sodium and potassium excretion. So this is effect on the electrolytes, positive nitrogen and phosphorus balance. GIT, increase absorption of calcium. On the kidney, decrease excretion of sodium and potassium. Miscellaneous or other effect of the growth hormone on the kidney, basically the function of the kidney is maintained. You can say it maintain glomerular filtration rate, GFR. It also stimulate proliferation of thymic lymphocytes. So overall growth of all the tissue, all the organ. So it also stimulate proliferation of thymic lymphocyte. Growth hormone has some effect, lactogen, so lactogenic effect, and last you can say it has anti-aging effect. So as the age advance, there is a gradual decrease in the secretion of the growth hormone, may be related with the aging process. So So growth hormone has anti-aging effect. So miscellaneous effect, GFR maintenance, stimulate proliferation of thymic lymphocyte, lactogenic and antigenic effect. Now growth hormone help in the protein synthesis, linear bone growth, lipolysis and insulin resistance. So growth hormone, protein synthesis, linear bone growth, lipolysis, right, and insulin resistance. We also understand IGF-1 or somatomedin C. So almost all the actions are same, like protein synthesis, linear bone growth, but IGF-1 has anti-lipolytic effect opposite to the growth hormone, and name itself suggests same chemical structure like insulin, so it has insulin like activity rather insulin resistance that in case of the growth hormone. So insulin like growth factor, so chemical structure is similar to insulin, so almost a similar effect like growth hormone, but there is a difference in the action. Growth hormone causes lipolysis, IGF-1 or somatomedin C causes anti-lipolytic effect. Growth hormone, insulin resistance, but IGF-1 has insulin-like activity. So these are the difference between the physiological action of the growth hormone and IGF-1. Now some difference between insulin, IGF-1, IGF-2. First of all, source of the insulin is pancreas, as we all know. For IGF-1, mainly liver and some other tissue. IGF-2, many tissue are causing secretion of IGF-2. For liver, it is pancreas, we are knowing, but IGF-1, it is liver, IGF-2, multiple tissue. Now, what is the physiological role of all these three? I am not going in detail, but in brief, insulin having a physiological role in glucose metabolism. Insulin having some role in glucose metabolism. IGF-1 is mainly concerned with the skeletal and cartilage growth that we have seen mainly during puberty. The somatomedin C level increases, having a half-life much more as compared to the growth hormone. IGF-2 is mainly concerned with the growth during fetal life. Mainly concerned with the growth during fetal life. So insulin with the glucose metabolism, IGF-1 with the bone or skeletal and bone growth, IGF-2 mainly related with the intrauterine life. So that's from today's lecture, growth hormone part 2. Thank you. Jai Swaminarayan.